Welcome back to Just Keep Parenting. Everybody, thank you for joining us today. I didn't get this done on Friday, so I'm trying to rush on Monday to get it finished. But we are starting chapter 11 of Easy to Love, Difficult to Discipline, the 7 basic skills for turning conflict into cooperation. And so chapter 11 is talking a lot about loving guidance in action, right? Solving the discipline problems. And so we're going to start this week by just talking a little bit about how extremely important as teachers, as parents, that our words and actions are for children, right? This book has really been about how we become conscious of what we say and do, right? As ourselves and as to our children, right? Because sometimes we do things kind of we don't recognize what we're doing, right? Sometimes I drive all the way home and I'm like, I'm not sure how I even got here, right? So that conscious piece of it, being aware of what we're saying and what our actions are doing. And so as we visualize success, what does that look like for you as a parent or as a caretaker, right? How do you visualize success? I'd like us to think about that this week as we think about what does it mean to be successful in my life as a parent, as a teacher, right? One of the things that is important for us is to remember that we have to refresh ourselves, we have to remind ourselves, and we have to renew ourselves, right? So as you're thinking about how do you visualize success, I'd like us to think about those 3 things: refreshing, reminding, and renewing. Because our job is to help the child to be more likely to comply with our wishes, right? Sometimes we talk about how easy it is just to say, boom, do this, right? But sometimes they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that is not doing it, right? They're trying to figure this out, this dance that we do, right? And so it is very normal for them to push back against us, right? And so there again, our job is to help them be more likely to choose to comply to our wishes. The second thing is that we have to remember is that our child's job, right, is to test the limits. That's part of development. And so depending on that current developmental level, they learn from testing us, right? They learn from our responses, and they learn from natural development. So as we try to help them figure out how to do this thing called life, how to do this discipline dance, right? One of the things that we have to figure out is refresh, remind, and renew. Some of my parents and teachers will comment and say, "Oh, video is just what I needed this week, Dory. I just forgotten about that," right? And so that's why we do this. It's just to refresh ourselves, remind ourselves, and renew ourselves. So one of the things that we talk about when in loving guidance is the discipline 2-step, right? So those of you who are dancers, are country dancers, right? It's a slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick. And that's kind of what discipline 2-step is all about, right? The slow, slow is building healthy relationships, right? So we're taking time to do that. We're trying to figure out who this person is, whether it's a child of yours, whether it's a child in your classroom, but we're trying to figure out who they are, right? So we're building relationships with themselves, with each other, and with children. So when children feel loved, valued, and capable in your presence, they'll most likely choose cooperation over opposition. So the slow, slow part of the dance is to build that healthy relationship, right? So just like bitterness, right, kills the cooperative spirit in adults, it also kills that cooperative spirit in children. So we've got to figure out where a good space is for ourselves and that child versus the bad space, right? Sarah has a really good story in here that I'd like to just read. Sarah was raising a daughter, her son, almost single-handedly. Her husband, Bob, brought home a paycheck and occasionally played with Michael, but did nothing else on the domestic front. Sarah worked as a beautician and took full responsibility for their child, house, chores, and meals. Fearing that Bob might leave them, Sarah even tried to keep Michael out of Daddy's way while he rested. Sarah was overwhelmed and her life was a continual rush. She often surrendered to Michael's demands just to save time. Michael, in turn, became more and more resistant and difficult, far beyond the norm for his stage of development. Go clean your room, Sarah would command, and he would shout back, No, I won't. Sarah would then snap, Well, then you won't watch TV today. Michael, showing no emotion, would reply, What do I care? Sarah and Michael are out of relationship. Sarah's stressful existence has left no room for her to connect joyfully with Michael. He feels neglected and conveys his sadness with his apathy and opposition. In effect, he's saying, I don't care about my life because you don't seem to care about me. If your child seems totally resistant or apathetic, he is begging you to make time to connect with him. Do enjoyable things together regularly and rediscover your joy in one another. I love that piece. Rediscover your joy in one another. Children who need attention often capture it through their misbehavior. Don't let their misdeeds distract you from the important underlying message. Take charge not by punishing, but by planning time to be close with your child. The slow minutes and hours you spend together now, reading, playing, talking, build the motivation for a lifetime of good behavior, right? So we've got to keep that bitterness out of it as we build a healthy relationship, right? So I love the fact that she goes on to talk about that togetherness does not teach children how to behave, right? That's not what we're doing. As we are together, we're building a healthy relationship, right? That's where the quick comes in, right? So this involves our conduct in the heat of conflict, because we're going to have this togetherness, right? But that's not teaching how to behave. So when we have that heat of conflict, that quick, right? What can we say or do to help them choose, reflect, or solve immediate problems? The skills that we use in this part of the dance can either build up or tear down that healthy relationship, right? So we need to remember that a loving relationship is the foundation for our success as parents, as teachers in the classroom. And we're going to talk more about this as we get on into this next chapter. But I want us to think this week about what does a loving relationship look like in your life? Whether it's with another adult, whether it's with another child, right? And what have you done to grow that relationship, right? Because we all know when we have struggles in our relationships that all of a sudden, I don't want to get that plate for you, right? When in reality, when we're in a good spot, a good space, I'm willing to do whatever. But when I'm in a bitter space, a hard space in a relationship, then sometimes I don't want to do it, right? Because I'm not feeling maybe cared for, valued, right? And so what can we do? So I want you to think about that relationship, the good relationship that's in your life right now, and what's contributing to that. And then think about other relationships and what can we do to add to that healthy relationship, right? So refresh, remind, and renew. That's our job, right? How do we visualize success as a parent or as a teacher in the classroom? So work on that this week and remind ourselves that we do good things, right? Kiss our brains, as we talked to the kids about this week, talking about thanking our brains for the good work that they're doing. Thank your brain today. Thanks for joining us, everybody.